The story began innocently enough. ESPN published a glowing press release claiming that Game 1 of the Liberty vs. Lynx Finals averaged 1.9 million viewers, peaking at 2.5 million, the most-watched WNBA Finals since 1997. On paper, it looked like a major win. Women's basketball had finally arrived, they said. The headlines were celebratory, the tone euphoric, and the league's official accounts were flooded with congratulatory posts. But within hours, the entire narrative began collapsing like a house of cards. Something didn't add up. Not even close. Fans noticed there was no buzz. No trending hashtags. No viral highlights. No major sports shows discussing the supposed milestone. In an era where every major sports event explodes across social media, this one vanished overnight. How does a supposedly record-breaking broadcast just disappear from public conversation? That's when journalists and analytics experts began asking questions. And the deeper they looked, the more rotten the story became. ESPN's numbers couldn't be independently verified. The network claimed its data came from Nielsen, the long-standing authority for television ratings. Yet when reporters tried to access the official figures, they hit a brick wall. The raw Nielsen data was mysteriously unavailable to the public. Instead, ESPN cited internal estimates and early reporting, conveniently shielding the real data from scrutiny. It was like a student grading their own exam and insisting they'd scored 100%. Red flags shot up immediately, and when the fine print finally came to light, the truth was worse than anyone imagined. Nielsen had quietly rolled out a brand new measurement model called Big Data Plus Panel. And unlike traditional rating systems that tracked active viewership, this new method counted anyone who merely existed near a television playing the game. A person at a sports bar, glancing at a muted screen while eating wings? Counted. A traveler passing an airport TV for 10 seconds? Counted. Someone on a treadmill at a gym with ESPN on in the background? Counted. Millions of people who never intentionally watched a single second were magically transformed into viewers. The supposed record ratings weren't measuring fans, they were measuring proximity. The WNBA's historic audience wasn't an audience at all. It was an illusion, a mathematical trick engineered to make the league look more popular than it actually was. It was the sporting equivalent of counting mannequins as stadium attendees. When analysts compared these phony finals numbers to Caitlin Clark's playoff ratings from earlier in the year, the contrast was staggering. Clark's Fever games pulled verified viewership that crushed these finals, with authentic, traceable engagement. Real fans. Real conversations. Real excitement. But after Clark's season-ending injury, the league's momentum cratered. Without her magnetic presence, ESPN and WNBA officials were desperate to prove that people still cared, even if they had to bend the truth to do it. The timing of Nielsen's new measurement system was almost too convenient. It launched right before the finals, giving ESPN and the WNBA just enough statistical wiggle room to manufacture a headline, most watched in 30 years. Sports journalists who've covered TV ratings for decades said they'd never seen anything so blatant. It's like adding imaginary points to the scoreboard, one analyst wrote. They didn't lie, they just redefined what watching means until it sounded impressive. The irony is that the two players who actually draw real audiences, Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, weren't even part of these finals. The Fever didn't make it, and that absence showed. These are the women who move merchandise, who drive ticket sales, who make people care. Yet instead of focusing on building the league around genuine stars who inspire authentic engagement, the WNBA tried to create a facade of success through cooked data. Cunningham has been lighting up Indiana since joining from Phoenix, her number 8 jersey flying off shelves alongside Clark's. But no amount of local fandom can compensate for a national ratings collapse. When the scandal broke, the backlash was instant and brutal. Reddit threads exploded, comparing the WNBA's tactics to Hollywood studios inflating box office numbers for flops. The phrase "ghost watchers" started trending, a mocking jab at these phantom fans supposedly glued to their screens. Even loyal supporters couldn't defend the numbers. How could there be record-breaking viewership when tickets were going for $6 and arenas were half empty? When ESPN's own flagship shows barely mentioned the finals? The math wasn't just suspicious, it was insulting. It soon became clear that ESPN's silence was as telling as the data itself. Their anchors avoided discussing the story, their social media accounts stopped posting about it, and industry insiders whispered that the network was quietly panicking. After all, ESPN isn't just a broadcaster, it's a business partner. They've invested millions into the WNBA, giving them every reason to inflate the optics of success. But when that illusion breaks, it doesn't just embarrass the league, it taints the credibility of the entire sports media ecosystem. The scandal has opened a massive wound in the WNBA's already fragile relationship with fans and sponsors. Advertising deals and future media contracts depend on those numbers being real. If brands discover they've been paying for ghost audiences, the fallout could be catastrophic. Trust, once lost, doesn't return easily. Sponsors will think twice before investing again, and media partners may demand new audits or lower payouts. The league that was finally inching toward profitability might have just undone years of progress in one scandalous swoop. And the saddest part? It didn't have to be this way. Fans were rooting for honest growth. People were genuinely excited about what Caitlin Clark brought to the sport. Her energy, her leadership, her ability to make the game must-watch television. The WNBA didn't need to fabricate numbers. It needed to build on that momentum with authenticity. But instead of patience, they chose deception. Instead of integrity, they chose image. Now, the narrative has flipped completely. What should have been a step forward for women's basketball has become a cautionary tale about greed and desperation. Analysts are calling it the death of trust in WNBA media reporting. Even casual fans now question everything they see, every headline, every stat, every historic milestone. Because once you're caught manipulating data, every future success looks like another lie. The most painful truth is this: without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA simply isn't commanding real national attention. She wasn't just a player, she was the product. The ratings scandal proves it. Without her, the league tried to replace star power with statistical trickery, and it blew up in their faces. They could have embraced the challenge of rebuilding, of earning those viewers back through genuine performance and better marketing. Instead, they've alienated both fans and investors with a stunt that insults everyone's intelligence. As the story continues to unfold, the fallout could define the league's future. If advertisers start backing out or networks demand renegotiations, the financial blow could be devastating. For a league that's never been consistently profitable, this might be the self-inflicted wound that it can't recover from. And yet, beneath the scandal, one truth remains undeniable. People want to care about women's basketball. They want to see athletes like Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Aya Wilson push the game forward. They want authenticity, not manipulation. Real moments, real rivalries, real magic. But until the league starts valuing truth over optics, they'll never get there. So what do you think? Did the WNBA just destroy its credibility with this ratings scandal? Can the league ever recover from this self-inflicted disaster? Or is this the beginning of the end? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you believe fans deserve the truth, and make sure to subscribe for more in-depth breakdowns of the stories shaking up the sports world. Because if this scandal is any indication, the WNBA's next chapter might be its most controversial yet.